Well, Gaffer, here after another day of pre-season ticked off. Just give us a quick overview of how it's all gone so far and how the group's kind of coming together.
To be fair, the lads are pretty fit. There's only really Dan Happ who's just recovering from a slight injury. He should be back training middle of next week. Adam Thompson is probably 6 or 7 weeks away, minimum. And then Ruel had a problem with his nose. He had an operation, so he joined training a little bit late, but wearing a mask. So all the others really fit, got the balls out straight away, doing a lot of work out of possession. Not in terms of anything structural or tactical, yet just clear messages that we want from them, and everybody took them on board. Training has been really bright. The standard has been a lot better than what I expected at this stage.
Obviously, a few new additions since we last spoke. Let's start with yesterday's return of Idris Al-Mazouni. I don't think it was one the fans saw come in. Maybe thought it just might be moving on elsewhere, but a massive signing to bring back into the building.
Well, that's why I gave him the player of the year last year, because I thought it might just sway him our way. No, listen, for his first season in football, I thought he was outstanding at times last year. You know, when people needed to be stepped up in January, February, Riddy was one of them that really stepped up for it. So for a young player to do that, forget technical ability, but his mentality and his ability to stand up to the challenge was exceptional. It actually coincided after he got sent off against Stevenage, so shown real mental strength. I'm glad that he's chose us. He had some other clubs, you know, maybe bigger stadiums, or, you know, all the outside influence maybe looked a bigger attraction. But I always say to young players, choose the people that you're working for rather than the size of the stadium or how nice a training ground looks, because you'll develop in a lot quicker way. So we're thankful for Riddy. We think that if he carries on that progression that he's shown in the last 10 months, then there's a serious player there. I think Ipswich have been quite clever in the way that they've done it, because he's probably not quite ready for them to play in a championship. But I think with another year for us, then he potentially could be a championship player.
A couple of others that we saw through the door last week. One in Dan Aggie from Crewe, who we knew from last year in League Two, and the other Ethan Galbraith, who he'd worked with before. So two other players who really had a strong bit of competition into that team.
Yeah, so firstly, Dan was, you know, he's flickered in and out of League One, but he's never really got that regular game time. When you're a footballer, you need to be trusted by the manager. You need to get a real good run of games, and you need to really know how your team plays to get the best out of you. He's then found a little home in Crewe, where his goal return last year was really good, and not many chances come his way. A lot of his goals was made for himself. So we believe that he can score different kind of goals. He can run away from people in behind him. He can take people on. He's got a good left foot. We also believe that he can score headers. But even though we see him as a winger, we see him as a wide player, he's not a typical wide player. He's going to stand outside, you know, out on the wings. He wants to get in them little positions. He wants to get people across people in 6-yard box. He'll score tap-ins for us. So I think he's a really good asset, a really good age, a player now that has come in and trained with us and realised that we train at a real intensity. So it's going to be hard for him. But if he gets through that and he deals with that hard work, then he's another player that we feel we can improve and he can go to the next level.
And then Ethan, obviously one you worked with before and keen to get.
Yeah. So listen, he's a great age, 22 years old, full Northern Ireland international. I see a hell of a lot of ability. You know, he's only been in a couple of days. The lads straight away can see what a really good player is. We just need to control Ethan and manage him off the play. We need to give him a structure to play from. Sometimes when you like Ethan and you play off the cuff, everybody can see how good a footballer he is. But defensively, in the way he positions himself on the pitch, can show his weaknesses. But I don't think he's ever been told that and been able to work on that. So we're working a lot on it. And I think in midfield now our options are really strong. Max Saunders has come in and been fantastic. Darren Prattley, 38 years old, started pre-season really well. Brownie, we know exactly what we're going to get from Brownie. Really controlled, really calm, level-headed lad. And then obviously we've got Eddie back. So midfield we're really strong, and I want competition in there. There might be new rules next year where we might have to play longer because of the time wasted and people want to speed the game up. So potentially we might be going up to 100 or 110 minutes a game next year. So we want to make sure that we've got legs and energy in the middle of the park, because for me it is the engine room of your team, and if that is functioning, then most of the time the rest of the team is functioning. So we've got really good options, and I'm looking forward to working with Ethan. I think he's got a big future.
Another incoming was Sam Howes. I spoke to him a minute ago. Obviously with Lawrence Figure and Sam Sargent departing, there's a bit of recruitment to do in that department. So why was Sam one of your options to bring in?
Yeah, so obviously goalkeepers is not really my strong point in terms of scouting them and looking at them, so we leave that up to Roycey. I know our supporters are going berserk, but we've already signed another goalkeeper. We just can't announce it yet, so all them guys on Twitter can just chill out. We've signed a goalkeeper. It's not the one who is rumoured. You know, we had a really good loan last year. He was the player of the year at his club. And then we've got Sam to come in and complement that. He played 40 games for Wealdstone in the National League. He has a good background in terms of playing for big clubs when he was younger. He's obviously gone out of the professional game to get games. And now he feels it's the right time to bring him in. Royce has been really impressed with him in his meetings. He's trained today, he's looked sharp, confident lad, will bring something to the group in terms of his characteristics that we want. We didn't want to have young goalkeepers across the board. We needed to make sure that we got one who was a little bit experienced, and Sam brings that, and the other goalkeeper brings us real quality as well, a goalkeeper that potentially in the future could play in the Premier League.
Obviously with new players coming into your team and replacing some that have left, obviously gives you different types of outlets, different types of players, and the chance for your team to evolve in different places as well. Does that excite you?
What is exciting is that we've got real momentum, real consistency and fluency from last year, because we've only lost really 3 players that was playing: Charlie Kelman, Paul Smith and Lawrence. So it gives us a lot of continuity, but then the excitement is the new players coming in. We don't know how Aggie's going to settle in. It's exciting. Ethan and Max bring us real energy and legs in midfield. So I think you've got to get that balance right. You don't want a total overhaul, but you also don't want to win a league and go through what we went through and then just look at people and just, oh, we've won the league last year, we're just going to rest off our laurels now. So what we want is a mix of the new players coming in, trying to aim for that, because they want success as well and they want to taste that success, but then we've also got the players that have stayed that can drive the new players on and make sure they know what's needed at this football club in terms of the way that they hold themselves, the way that they perform in training, and obviously the tactics, what will come out later, but I can see them already talking, discussing certain things which will help us.
First game of pre-season tomorrow night, away at Billericay Town. Obviously pre-season's always an interesting time from a manager's perspective to look at how players are doing in terms of fitness, but also in terms of certain systems as well. So first of all, what do you want to see from tomorrow night from your players? Yeah,
we won't be working on much in terms of system. It's on AstroTurf, which I'm not a big lover. I'm not a big lover of pre-season games in general. Long grass, slow pitches, the tempo. Every opposition plays out. When it gets to the league, and more often than not, a lot of teams don't. So in pre-season, you tend to get that our defenders will just read the game. They won't be heading it much. They won't be running channels much. So it's a little bit false. So the only thing I'm bothered about is everybody gets 45 minutes. They come through it, and then we'll step up the opposition against Charlton. And as this pre-season goes on, I seen, our pre-season last year looked from the outside like it was disastrous. One, we had a lot of injuries, but then if you look at we lost away to Potters Bar, we lost a few other games. But I seen when it stepped up to 1 or 2 weeks ago, the Portsmouth game was a big one. Where I thought, you know what, we've got the makings of a really good team here. We just need two or three other players, and obviously our attacking players to come back fit. So, yeah, I mean, I won't be reading too much into it. But I think pre-season, especially local non-league teams, I think it's all about interacting with the fans. Obviously, we've missed them. We've not seen them for a few months. So, go around the ground, have a chat with them, see how they all are. See some faces we've not seen for a few months, and just, like I say, just generally get back into the swing of things. But in terms of result, in terms of performance, you want to see certain things, but yeah, it's far too early to start thinking about anything tactical.
And then Sunday, the trip to Spain. Obviously last year we saw the trip to Portugal was really good for the team bonding. I imagine this year it's going to be a lot about that again, getting people in close proximity and new players being more familiar with the players that are already here as well.
Yeah, I think it always helps that we live in each other's pockets with 24 hours for 6 or 7 days. I think that when the players turn up at 9:30, 9 o'clock, they go out to train at 10:30, and then they're away in 2 or 3 hours. you can not get that sense of how they're feeling, get to know them as much. But you know, when you're there, you know, we'll be training double sessions, but then we'll also have the evenings where we'll sit down, we'll have meals together, and we'll have a few drinks together where we can actually talk and spend a couple of hours with each individual, know what makes them tick, feeling they're comfortable. And you tend to find that a lot of younger players, once you've had 2 or 3 shandies, start to talk a little bit more and come out of the shell, which I quite enjoy.